Hello everyone, I am Mishka and welcome back to my channel. So, in today's episode of Our Life Beginnings and Always, we are going to be starting Baxter's DLC. I have gone ahead and just went to step 2, and this is our character. So I just wanted to like introduce you to her. So this is Brittany, and I kind of thought about going for like another name and not like an M name, so I did a B name, and it's kind of the same, Brittany Baxter. So yeah, this is Brittany Taylor. She is such a kind person. She's outgoing. She does well in school and sports. She knows how to play instruments. Like, she is basically the whole package, and I love her. So we are going to be playing with her for Baxter's DLC, and I hope you guys enjoy this DLC, as it is the last one that it comes with OL. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to go out with a bang. So this is our character, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe and share this video with your friends so they can find out about my amazing challenge just like you have right now. So yeah, let's get into it. I hope you enjoy. Again, let's hit it. And this is just feelings for Cove. So they're just best friends in this playthrough, and for him, I just kind of figured he'd be like really scrawny and nerdy and would have the glasses and all that. So yeah, I don't think he really cares much about his appearance, so he can kind of be like the nerd. There. And here he's like moderate, but I think he's, maybe he can be like, but he is definitely a nerd. He's not sporty at all, but he can be warm. Yeah. This is feelings for Derek, and we're just gonna be best friends with him too. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the moment where we first are introduced to Baxter. Okay everyone, so I have now gotten to the sorry moment, and I didn't go with Cove, so I'm now gonna search for someone to dance with, and I can't wait. Oh my god. You toed the edge of the dance floor looking for someone who might be interested in joining you. Feeling a tap on your shoulder, you glance behind to find a boy with dark brown eyes standing there. Baxter. At a guess, you estimated he was around your age, maybe a little older. Are you planning on dancing? Yeah, if I can find a partner. Smiling, the stranger nodded at your response. We should dance then. It's perfect timing. A new song is just about to start. You were flattered. He simply continued to look over your face, even lifting his hand up for you to take. You accepted. Though you were nervous, tonight you were trying to be bolder. You took his hand in yours. The only acknowledgement he gave was a casual whiff of a smile. You suspected this was as routine for him as a handshake. Together, you walked out onto the dance floor. The boy's stance shifted into proper form for formal dancing, confirming your earlier suspicions. He clearly had lessons in this area, which explained his casual attitude about securing a dance. A lot of the country club parents put their kids in classes like that, whether as part of a last-minute panic before an event or a weekly extracurricular as soon as the kid could walk. You took dance classes regularly. From the way he confidently guided you into position, you would guess that he'd been the one who was enrolled in dance classes for some time. Yet you had come to the country club quite a few times over the years, and you struggled to recall seeing him before. The first notes of the new song caught you off guard. You began to dance, your unknown partner taking the lead. The two of you moved to the music as you proved your own skill on the dance floor. Competently, keeping pace with the music and taking deft steps that matched his. The boy's eyes lit up. Your partner and you were quickly able to get into a group together. You wonder what his motives for picking you were. Had the decision been entirely random? Though you were curious, short of asking him outright, there was no way you could tell. The style of dance how do you say that? By the music meant that you were spending a few solid minutes in very close proximity to someone you never met before. It was particular to think that you didn't even know his name, but you were near enough to notice a small birthmark on his neck. You could just ask for his name, but he'd show no inclination to talk once you'd begun dancing. While you were considering this, the song came to an end. Oh. Your hands released and he politely took a step back. Thank you for dancing with me. You have nice legs. He breezed away before you could formulate a response to the unprompted compliment. It wasn't a feature you were accustomed to people commenting on, good or bad. He disappeared into the crowded dance floor just like that. It was a mystery if you'd see him around the country club again, or if this was the first and last time he would saunter into your life. Period, he's not. He'll come back later in your life, girl. Okay, so I am just gonna leave that there, and then I think I'm gonna go ahead and go to step 3. Okay, everyone, so Lord, I'm sorry. I'm at the moment where we are first introduced to Baxter. So we are just gonna start here and continue on from here. I might skip a little bit of the moments with like Terry and Miranda just because I want to get into it. But if you would like to go and see that, I do have Cove's route up on my channel, so go check that out if you would like to see that. But just for right now, I want to do Baxter's stuff only. So yeah. So what are you up to today? As far as I know, nothing much. Me and Cove are meeting some friends in town later. Sounds like a plan to me. Yawning, Mr. Holden stretched his arms over his head. My boy and I have just been waiting around to see what the new neighbors are like. It was definitely his idea. I don't know how you're not interested in this. It's big news. Besides, it'd only be polite to greet the new folks in town. Maybe it'll be a single dad and his son. Cove snorted some airy laughter at the suggestion. You think we'll have some competition? For several moments, Mr. Holden was unable to answer. He was still chuckling when he put his hands on his hips and tried to compose himself. Absolutely not. We're the #1 father-son duo in this town and no one's chasing that. Mr. Holden took one more glance at the currently vacant building and sighed dramatically. When he turned back to you and Cove, his whole body seemed deflated. There's no sign of them and I still need to head over to work soon. Cove gave his dad a few reassuring pats on the back. Okay, I promise to keep an eye out. I can text you if anything happens. Really? Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, only until I have to meet up with Terry and Miranda, but that still work? With a wide grin breaking out on his face, Mr. Holden looked absolutely thrilled to have his nosiness enabled. That works. He moved to firmly place both hands over Cove's shoulders, fixing his child with a firm stare. Son, you are my true ally in this world. Mr. Holden stood up straighter, letting Cove go, and he looked reinvigorated. Okay, with that settled, I'll go make some money. That's always been the one thing I do best. Mr. Holden headed out to the garage with a big wave goodbye. Cove smiled the whole time you both watched his dad leave. Mr. Holden was one of your favorite people. He always tried his best and was honestly just great. As soon as he was out of sight, Cove sighed lightly. Are you okay? Yeah, just not looking forward to waiting. Guess I'll be hanging around the street a while. Why don't I stay to see the new neighbor and keep you company? Curiosity about the new tenant was getting the better of you, and you figured that the wait wouldn't be too much longer. And besides, you just couldn't leave Cove. Really? Of course, I like keeping you company, remember? He stared at you a moment, smiling softly and thinking about his response. I like that too. Cove put his hand on your shoulders, gripping you solidly, but not enough to hurt. his eyes fixated on you. Just as firmly, he was serious. Brittany, you're my true ally in this world. I got a fair amount of chuckles from you. He grinned, the stoicism fading into amusement.
Thank you.
You're always good to me. You laughed. It was soft and happy. And then he let go of you. Cove stepped over to his front porch steps, lazily taking a seat, leaning back on his arms. The good Cove we always know. Our watch begins. Nodding in agreement, you joined Cove on the front porch steps. You both sat there in a comfortable familiarity as you settled in for the waiting game on the new tenants. The neighborhood was quiet, and you sighed contentedly, closing your eyes and feeling the light breeze. Eventually, you both perked up at the sound of a car. A taxi followed the noise turning onto your street. Cove's eyebrows raised at that sight. He sat up straight on the stoop.
Well?
This has to be them, right? Yeah, it's gotta be. Now that they were here, you couldn't help but feel just a bit curious. You wondered what kind of person would be living in the neighborhood for the summer. The taxi pulled to a stop as you expected in front of the now empty condo. It was on the same side of the street as your house, a few buildings further up. Without getting to his feet, Cove tried leaning and tilting his head to get a view of the passenger door as it opened. The single occupant exited the cab. Huh? You could feel what Cove was in that moment. After the last renters, this new visitor was definitely not exactly what you'd expected. It's Baxter. It was a young man, had to be close to your own age. He was dressed fully in an eclectic black, white, and gray outfit. Even his side-swooping hair matched the scheme. The only other pop of color was something that couldn't easily be fashioned into submission, a pair of dark brown eyes, which you caught when he looked over at his audience. Hello, folks. Who might you be? We're the neighbors. The smile, already prominent on his face, curled further. It was cocky, but you didn't get the impression that it meant something adverse. Hallelujah. You and Cove shared a familiar look with one another, bewildered even further. Okay. No. Sorry, I had to turn it down, y'all. The color-coordinated man left it there, however, and with a firm click, he shut the door of his ride. Then he turned his back to you to retrieve a large, unsurprisingly black suitcase out of the trunk. Continuing on with his business, he strolled forward and lightly tapped on the driver's side window with his knuckles, asking for them to roll it down. When it opened, he leaned down and rested his arm on the edge. You assumed he was thanking the driver for getting him there, considering he slipped them a tip during the brief chat. They shook hands, and then he pushed himself up and away from the taxi with both arms, giving the driver room to leave. The taxi pulled away, rolling carefully down the road and out of sight around a corner. The new renter had officially arrived. He left the suitcase on the ground out of the way of the street and sauntered over your way with the confidence of someone who had been invited to join. Cove finally stood up to greet this person. You followed suit. I'm Baxter Ward. It's excellent to meet you, neighbors. You were standing on the side he was approaching from. When Baxter got close enough, he hovered his hand to you first. You held your arms open to offer a hug instead. Baxter didn't miss a beat and embraced you around the back, giving you a light squeeze. Hi, Baxter. I'm Brittany. Hey, Brittany. I am quite keen on getting to know you better this summer. We could be good friends. From your other side, Cove made a sarcastically amused scoff. And you are? He lifted his hand out to Cove next. Cove shook his hand, still eyeing Baxter carefully. I'm Cove. Baxter's whole demeanor lit up for unknown reasons. His eyes shone as he studied Cove a moment. Now wait, is that a nickname or your real name? It's just my name. Cove spoke mildly, having given the explanation many times in the past, but it clearly charmed Baxter all the same. He tossed his head to one side with a laugh. Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. I can't imagine a more fitting name for the face I'm seeing. Cove, that's gorgeous. It's really not. No, I agree. It suits you. Nice to see someone else knows. The impact might have faded for you, living with it this long, but I promise to the onlooker, it's a knockout. Cove couldn't face either of you after that. His cheeks were quickly turning bright red with embarrassment. You noticed that Baxter looked apologetic over Cove's increased discomfort. I'm sorry, it wasn't intended to mean more than it did. I like your name, but you don't have to mind that. I'm patently against stepping on anyone's toes. He chuckled to himself. It seemed there was some extra meaning hidden there in his words, and you noticed that Cove raised an eyebrow, picking up on that too. Baxter stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position of his feet. He began to speak, but suddenly stopped and closed his mouth. He became absorbed in his own thoughts, tapping a finger to the side of his chin as he stared at you. You shot Cove a confused glance. He shrugged in response. After a few moments, Baxter had that same smile curl from before. He removed the finger from his face and used it to point directly at you. We've met before. What? When? Baxter continued to smile widely, his head tilted slightly to the side as he studied your visage. It's embarrassing, but I haven't remembered that part yet. He laughed cordially while Cove stared at him in disbelief. Baxter chuckled further, mirth growing at what must have been a very amusing situation in his mind. I'm getting there. Don't tell me. I know you want to, but do not. It'll come to me. He continued looking you up and down, hand back over his chin while he racked his brain for answers, and then recognition appeared in his eyes. With a snap of his fingers, he announced his revelation as though he had forgotten his own birthday. The cypress at the summer sorority, of course. Turning away from you, Baxter began rambling to himself about the details. That had to have been before any regional, so at the time I was about 14 years old. That makes it 5 years ago from now, right? Cove's mouth fell open.
Seriously?
Are you kidding me? Is he serious? Did you really meet this guy at that country club party 5 years ago? You certainly had. You'd never forgotten the mystery boy. You weren't sure what to say or what to do. He had appeared in front of you so unexpectedly, then he'd done it again. Cove's eyes darted between you and Baxter again. The instigator of this discussion lightly gestured with his hands in response. It's good not to forget a face. You see, my parents are members of the Cypress. They happened to be passing through on a trip across different states when they heard about the event. Funnily enough, the entire reason they joined was for the connections they could make with other members there. Looks like that perk has finally hit for me too. Originally, I thought it was only good since I could occasionally dance there. Baxter suddenly stopped and stood up straighter. He grinned. Dance? Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm a ballroom dancer, hence the phrasing earlier. Oh, I don't know much about dancing, but that's pretty cool. It's not hard once you get the basics down. Cove didn't look convinced at all. Baxter took that as a cue to keep talking.
Oh.
Well, he grinned in a way that was rapidly becoming familiar to you. If either of you are looking for a partner, I'm available. Cove frowned at the overt forwardness. Thanks. I'll pass, I think. I'll take you up on the offer sometime. I look forward to that then. After that, there was a long conversation and Cove attempted to fill it. What made you decide on Sunset Bird? Oh yes, well my parents rented a condo, so I had a place to stay while I'm off for a semester from college and not living in the dorms. There was a playful glint in Baxter's eyes as he continued. Ideally, they wanted to send me somewhere that wasn't too exciting, but lucky for me, they picked the wrong street, considering the two of you live here. Cove was practically reeling over how Baxter found a way to fit comments like that into every single topic thus far. Why do you keep doing that? You don't know us, but you talk like you already do. Cove spoke firm yet genuinely confused, and Baxter smiled cautiously. I don't feel the need to keep words of phrase to myself, and when I say something, I mean it. Plus, what's the point in spending my off semester alone? The best part of being somewhere new is getting to interact with new people. Am I honestly the first person who's acknowledged you're attractive and intriguing people? True, you're hidden away in a tiny tourist trap, but still. Baxter crossed his arms. After studying your faces a few more seconds, he decided to continue. Am I only trying to score a hookup or get a romantic fling started by saying those things? No. That isn't the point of speaking well to others. I was raised better than that. Though, would I be fussed if that's what my words led to? Also no. I'm flexible, not a surprise. I can back off of the lines if you don't like the attention, but I would like to be friends if we can. Cove wasn't sure how to respond. He glanced at you and he continued to look at your face when he spoke. Thanks for answering. I don't think I'm interested in that. Maybe not the friend thing, but the other part. I'm finding it pretty entertaining. Baxter laughed at that. Glad we're working things out. Shifting his weight to his other foot, Baxter tried to move forward. So, since you were both already out here, did my arrival interrupt anything? Definitely not. You smiled and silently agreed. If Cove wasn't going to say anything, neither were you. Baxter didn't need to know how much of today was spent waiting to see who was moving in. Baxter watched you both carefully for a hint of what was going on, but decided not to pry any further. Well, if either of you are free, I'd be thrilled to hang out this summer, but we can save the scheduled talk for later. I should get my things inside. He gave a small nod of the head and flashed you both a dazzling smile. Goodbye for today. Bye. Cove gave a small wave as well. Bye, Baxter. See you. Bye, soon-to-be husband. Baxter then turned on his heels and strolled back to his suitcase, picking it up and bringing it to his condo. You and Cove were silent as Baxter unlocked the door and disappeared inside the house. With him completely out of the scene, Cove let out a long breath. I don't know how I'm going to explain that guy to my dad. He burst into a fit of laughter, trying to imagine the conversation. At least the job is done. We saw the new neighbor, and now we can go meet up with Terry and Miranda. Yeah, we should get going. You gave Baxter's condo one last glance over your shoulder. Choose your feelings for Baxter. Oh my god. Alright, choose your feelings for Baxter. This is how you feel towards Baxter for this step. It can be the same or different from how you feel towards Cove. Relax, crush. Period. Which initiative would you like Baxter to have for step 3? Hi. You thought he was charming. You really weren't sure when, but at some point, Baxter won you over. You were curious to get to know him better. Laughing quietly, you wondered how Baxter would fit in with the rest of the neighborhood. Turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter aside. You both started making your way towards town. Okay, so this is also part of the conversation with Miranda and Terry, and I wanted to include this because it's about Baxter. The current conversation was well and truly over, so Cove took a chance to speak. This has been on my mind the whole time, but there was never a good chance to mention it before. What is it? There's a new person renting a condo in our neighborhood. Really? From one tale of an unusual character to another, Cove spoke with Baxter Ward as if he was a local legend. His name is Baxter, he's in college, though it doesn't look like he's much older than us. Maybe Miranda's age? He's not going to be what you expect, no matter how much you try to guess. The description put Terry on the edge of a non-existent seat, and she was about to fall off it somehow. A new man in town who's our age? Cove Holden has been holding out on us as usual. I won't guess. You tell me what he looks like. He's a charmer. I can't wait to see him again. Intriguing. He added on to your initial description with a couple thoughts of his own. More explanation was required to make any sense of it. Baxter is bold. He says whatever he wants and he dresses dramatically. Everything on him is black and white, even his hair. Huh? Cove had been correct. The kind of man had not been considered in the realm of possibilities for Terry or Miranda. But I don't care that he has a style or that he's not shy. What I don't get is the way he acts. So impressed by strangers who have done nothing. He said he wanted to hang out with us, me and Brittany, this summer and all this other stuff, and that was the very first time we'd met. I have no idea why he cares or why it was so easy for him to say that to people he knows nothing about. So you got his number? No. Cove's eyes squinted and his nostrils squished inward from the incredulous scrunch that suggestion had given him. Considering the picture that had been painted, he couldn't understand why Terry would imagine anything like that had happened. I wish. Then do it, and you should too, Cove. You don't meet a social butterfly like that every day. The black and white color scheme proves he's a rare specimen. This Baxter is flapping around the town, coming to appreciate our two good buds, Cove and Brittany, right? Like flower buds, and he's a butterfly. Terry, that pun is such a stretch. Well, he sounds like my kind of guy, and we could always use more friends. I'm not so sure about that one. It's as shaky as your bud metaphor. This was escalating. The more fired up Terry got, the more Cove and Miranda wanted to shield themselves from the embers. Oh, come on. The more the merrier. The group of four was evenly split between the sociable and the shy. That line was drawn clearly with this discussion. No longer moving forward, Terry stood there with her hands on her hips. I'm gonna go meet Baxter right now. Cove completely stalled except for his lips, which sputtered a response. What about getting food? I know the way. You can all go ahead. I'll be back before the food hits the table. You'll see it. Terry's light chuckles contrasted massively with a hefty sigh from Cove. You're actually gonna go to a stranger's house and ask for his number? That's the plan? Yeah. Why do you gotta be like this? If I wasn't like this, me and you would have never been friends ourselves. And I probably wouldn't have been friends with Randy either. I don't live in this town. I can't miss an opportunity to connect. Otherwise, that'd mean leaving it up to chance or fate, or Cove's ability to have relationships progress on his own. I don't have all year for that. He'll be gone before then. Not to insult you for going slow, Cove. You're good the way you are. Baxter can be a butterfly and you can be a snail. There was affection in Terry's extended metaphor, but Cove still frowned at the almost certainly correct assessment of how his connection with Baxter was going to develop. I don't like snails. You chuckled as Cove pouted. He hadn't completely grown up. Order me the General Tso's chicken. I'll get his number. No way! She's actually gonna go. Inspired by the name of her meal, or perhaps her meal was inspired by the sudden mission, Terry gave a military salute before flipping around. Miranda and Cove simply watched in disbelief. Hold on, I'll go with you. Bye! Brittany! Cove gave a halting yell, but he had no intention of stopping you. He just had more foresight than you in that instant. What are we supposed to order for you then? Oh. You slowed your pace way down and glanced over your shoulder. You called out. Vegan fried rice. I don't know. Okay. He let you go and you found, when you looked ahead, that Terry had stopped in her tracks. She waited for you after you announced your intention of joining.
Thanks.
I knew you were a bud. The trip back wasn't long. You'd barely left your neighborhood before the announcements of this change of plans, but there was no time to lose. Together, you sped down the sidewalk around the bend, and in only a few minutes, you'd returned to the ever-familiar slope street. Terry's feet took her halfway down the road, smack dab between your house and Cove's. It was a force of habit. Which is his? She asked the question so naturally you almost missed realizing that she wouldn't have known where to even go if you hadn't decided to come after her, almost. But you wanted to see Baxter. It worked out for the both of you. You pointed a finger towards one of the rectangular houses back up higher on the hill that she passed right by. That's it. Ooh, glad you're here. Let's go. She hoofed it in reverse upwards to what had been the Forbidden Fortress. Though the former danger that haunted those halls had been released, and instead it was claimed by a proper gentleman. Terry fearlessly rang the doorbell. She'd never understood the true terror of the Daniels, but one might think there'd be some hesitation in the action. After all, she was still approaching the home of someone so unfamiliar to her she hadn't known which house it was. But they would have thought wrong. Terry remained fully confident in the decision. You stood at her side with hardly more justification to be doing this. The door opened and there was a man you'd met 30 minutes ago. Baxter had said goodbye for today when he'd left. What an overestimation of how long it'd be before you'd once again show him your face. Oh. He must have believed what he said because seeing you raise his eyebrow and put a questioning edge in his exclamation. Why were you back? After the initial recognition, though, his features all smoothed out onto his default expression. Lidded eyes and a curved smile. Brittany, it's a pleasure to see you, and you. Baxter's head angled squarely at Terry. It was at a playful tilt. You weren't there before. Still keeping his face turned to Terry, his deep brown eyes shifted towards you. Brittany must be popular to have such a rotating collection of company. I expected as much. Oh my god. Baxter blinked, and it was as if he'd never taken focus from Terry for even a second. His attention was on her so fixedly. He held out a hand decorated with sleek black rings to her, then gave a cordial introduction. I am Baxter Warden. How nice to meet you. The offered hand received a sprightly slap aside five in the place of a shake. I'm a Terry, a friend of your neighbor's. His interest was piqued. Baxter far less subtly looked between the individuals making a house call, trying to gauge the motivation for it. With no hint to go off of, he settled for asking directly. How are you? I see, and what can I do for you, my neighbor in front of my neighbors? Terry was going to come either way, but I thought I checked in. How is the condo nice? It's lovely. His voice was distinctly sweet and soft. The tone might have been born from a simple appreciation of the condo. Or it might have been because you cared to ask, and the quality of lodging was irrelevant to how happy he was to answer. Brittany here and Cove not here talked about you moving in for the summer. It sounded cool to me. I decided to see you in your black and white hair myself. The reason people were unexpectedly at his doorstep had been revealed. Baxter's response to session intrusion was pleased. He instinctively brushed a few strands of dyed hair, smiling all white. Well, thank you. You sounded cool and you are. Let's swap numbers. Really, this town truly is neighborly. I'm not from this place. Terry's reason for seeing him was far more tenuous than Baxter assumed. She didn't live in the neighborhood or the one next past or anywhere in Sunset Bird. She laughed heartily over it. Baxter snickered much more rarely. Neither of them had a care in the world. Then it's a social circle from wherever they come that's so friendly. Even better. Does that mean I can have your number? Certainly. That would be excellent. Good. Terry pulled out her cracked cell. Baxter did the same thing at the same time. His phone case was black and white. No surprise there. They hovered closer to each other, bent over the screens and tapping away. After a mistype or two, numbers were exchanged. Thank you. Welcome. Would it be alright if I had your number? And I'll give you and I'll give you mine. His head remained bowed, but his gaze lifted towards you. His cheeks went up as well in a sparkling smile. Of course, I'd love that. Oh, wait, what? Okay, that's probably a bug. But it's fine. Baxter waited for you to get your own phone now, and he repeated his number. You got it down. They gave yours in return. The contact name on his list was Brittany across the street with an exclamation point. Perfect. He slid his phone into his back pocket. And I must admit, I was not expecting this vacation to go as well as it has. Even with a generous estimation of my sociability, I imagined I need a week or more to find someone to exchange numbers with. Instead, I have 2 new friends the very instant I arrived. Oh, Baxter, this isn't even at all. Since you've seen me, Brittany, and Cove, it's only a matter of time before you meet Miranda, too. And there's still Liz, obviously. Maybe even Lee will make an appearance. The news of yet more strangers being invited into Baxter's vacation had no visible impact on him. He replied contented and calm. I look forward to all of that. As you should. Now we need to make haste. There are other matters we must attend to. Lunch awaits. That was one way to put it. Baxter's formal tone seemed to be rubbing off on Terry. Then I won't keep you. I hope to see you again soon, though. Please feel free to text or call anytime. Have a good day. Same. Yeah, see you later. Come on, Brittany. He's so cute. Like two shots, you went off up the road. Baxter didn't move an inch from the entry as you left. Neither you nor Terry spoke on the race to the restaurant. The clock was ticking. Every second longer you took could be another drop in degrees for the warmth of your meal. You stopped to catch your breath only when you were under the shaded awning of the Chinese restaurant. Terry wiped her fully exposed forehead with her palm. Finally. Making friends works up an appetite. Yep, good thing we're about to eat. You entered the building together, leisurely pretending to be normal people who arrive for lunch in a totally reasonable way. Terry explained to the hostess up front that a table should already be prepared for her and you with two others. One who's short and in shorts, cute freckled, big purple eyes, a lacy top. She's shy and probably didn't say much, but... The hostess politely stopped Terry's babbling with a raise of a hand before she even began to describe Cove. That was plenty to get the idea across. You were directed towards the center of the dining area. Miranda and Cove were there, speaking quietly. In front of them was nothing more than 4 cups of water and a plate of 3 spring rolls. The dish was supposed to have 4. As sure as Baxter loved black and white, you knew it was Cove who ate the one that was missing. Even if food technically ended up in Cove's stomach before the two of you returned, an appetizer had to be cheating. Terry meant the main course and it was not there. You could still take it as a win. She certainly did. Hey, we made it! Terry, Brittany, hi! Creases lingering on Cove's face showed he'd been worrying about the result of the unexpected pit stop until the moment you both appeared. But since you strode up so victoriously, he was reassured enough to already joke about it. You barely made it, you know. We ordered a while ago and this appetizer is already here. Ah, close, but making it is making it. Did my good friends get what I requested? The sudden primness of Terry's speech was lost on Miranda. She didn't understand that a bit of Baxter had been brought to the restaurant with the two of you. Yeah, I got it. General Tso's chicken for you and fried rice for Brittany. Ah, yes, thank you. One of the empty seats was finally filled as Terry plopped down, satisfied after a job well done. You took the last remaining chair. So, did you actually see him and get his number? We did. Cove glanced your way. His wavy brows raised in response. We was clearly the word that was on his mind. You continue with comfortable ease. I got his number too. Wow. The group had settled into its usual rhythm when your proper meals arrived a few minutes later. You ate and talked, and not once did the topic return to that element of the unknown Baxter Ward. But he remained stuck in a corner of your mind. After many seasons in the sleeping town, After many seasons in the sleeping town, you'd had expectations of what the summer of 2016 would look like. It had been all too easy to imagine. Sure, you graduated high school. Your life wasn't going to be the same anymore. But it was too soon for that to wrap the experience or the existence you had for over a decade. At least you thought so. And yet, there was Baxter. He was something you'd not counted in a single one of your vacation plans. You couldn't have until barely an hour ago. Now his number was on your phone. A new world, one you had no grasp on, was already poking its way into your old routine, and it had come in the form of a black and white ballroom dancer. You were lucky. The final days of familiar comfort had come, but the first step beyond that was a charming young man asking you to spend time together. And okay, this is all Baxter's moments for step 3. So this is the information. Thank you for purchasing Baxter's DLC. Here you can play 5 new moments centered around Baxter. He also has a special epilogue in step 4. To unlock it, you will need to fulfill these conditions. Play through all of them. which we chose crush. We need to include Baxter in during the hangout, which can be Actus. Okay, I need to do that. Then you have the option to play. Okay. So, hang. Oh, wait, is that, hang. No! Okay, never mind, I went back. So, I guess I have to do this hanging out and then this one. So, I think next time we're going to start doing Baxter's moments. And then for the last one, we will do Cove's hang moment. Yeah, I can do that. All right. Okay, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Yeah, so next episode, which is what I just said, we'll start doing Baxter's DLC moments in step 3. And yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know if you were looking forward to seeing this. But yeah, everyone, I hope you guys enjoy this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!